From the banks of the Mississippi to the peaks of the Smokies, this is the home field of champions.
Andre Callaway to Stanley Morgan.
And Phillips holds it down. Nobody can catch him. Reggie White penetrated.
Touchdown, Heath Shula. James Stewart.
Manning on the naked handoff.
Peerless Pike.
Travis Henry scores for Tennessee.
More than 75 years of broadcast excellence. We are the Vol Network. What happened this weekend? What lies ahead? Analysis and insight from the inside. This is Big Orange. Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
This is Big Orange Rewind. With the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, and VolQuest.com's Brent Hubbs.
Glad to have you for another week. Big Orange Rewind. Coming to you from Knoxville. Your questions via our text line at 865-657-1278. Tennessee goes to Tuscaloosa and loses to Alabama 37-20. We'll begin with our Rackley Roofing recap, a breakdown of Tennessee's game against Alabama, presented by Rackley Roofing. Transforming the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Rackley Roofing, the proud official roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers. Brent Hubbs, straight overview shot. If you're describing Tennessee's 17-point loss to Alabama on Saturday night, just a general description that you would give it.
Missed opportunity. Didn't play well enough to win. That's the bottom line. I don't think you come away from that standpoint of saying, man, you're outclassed on your roster. You can't compete. You just got you got so far to go to be in that level or whatever. No, I don't think you feel that way at all. I think you walked out of there going, missed opportunity. What might have been? What would have happened had you not made the mistakes that you made? Tennessee's got to play a cleaner brand of football in conference play if they're going to win. Josh Heupel talks about margins, and margins are kind of the new catchphrase among all the coaches out there. But the parity, margins, whatever you call it, the day and age of rolling the ball out there and saying we're just vastly superior to you in this league are over. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to that where you go on a road trip and you say, this team can't beat you. This team can't win. Well, they're not going to beat us, even though we're at their place, whatever time of day or whatever. And listen, you were here, there was a stretch in the 90s where you played one game, maybe two. The rest of them were like, okay, yeah, you're going to beat that team. You're going to beat that team. It's not competitive. Those days are over. Look at the scoring in this league. So they were not overmatched. Tennessee did not play well. Alabama is playing good football right now. And it showed up last night. Tennessee's got to play better if they're going to win a game like that on the road.
The Vols' penalties really jump out from the standpoint of how they're just kicking this team in the teeth right now when they're happening. Sometimes you can get a penalty and you can overcome it. It's not a big deal. You just keep rolling. But, for example, second snap of the ball game, false start. Instead of 2nd and 2, and you're rolling a little bit, now it's 2nd and 7. Then you get 3rd and 2, you don't convert that, and you've got a 3 and out. Later on, you have an offsides penalty on Alabama's first drive, which isn't catastrophic, but it helps their drive. On your next drive, you're in a position where Aguilar completes a short pass to Chris Brazzell, 17-yard gain that would have gone to the Alabama 28. Instead, you're penalized for ineligible man downfield, and so you go back to the 50. It ends up being a 22-yard difference, and you end up having to punt. Unfortunately for Tennessee, it continued in the second quarter. They're in a position where they've got a completion to Brazzell for 8 yards up to the 26-yard line, would have left them with 3rd and 2. Instead, offensive pass interference, half the distance to the goal at the 9. The next play, intentional grounding in the end zone, a penalty. and there's 2 points. And then you had another false start later in the half, which wasn't as dramatic. Again, not all of them are dramatic. The yardage overall wasn't terribly dramatic on Tennessee, but the time and how it stopped your momentum was a big deal playing on the road against a team, and we said it on last week's show. Alabama's playing clean.
Mhm.
They are playing clean football right now with everything they're doing, and when you stop yourself or at least pause your momentum, makes it hard to beat a quality team.
Yeah, 10 penalties a game is too much. And Tennessee had 10 penalties at Alabama. They had 10 penalties the week before against Arkansas. They had 10 penalties at home against Georgia. Only 6 penalties at Mississippi State. But you can't have 10 penalties. And again, there's no good time to have a penalty. But some of the critical penalties, the timing, as you mentioned, of them are just – you go back to that Georgia game, 5-yard false start penalty to start the drive that puts you behind the sticks. You end up kicking a field goal. Then you're trying to line up for the field goal, cost you 5 yards there. I mean, just the timing of them have been really big. The concern is this narrative is not a new narrative. Tennessee has been penalized too many times over the last 4 or 5 years. They have been among the nation's most penalized team in college football, in the hundreds in terms of rankings over the course of the last 4 or 5 years here. And they have officials that practice every day, and they go through things, but it's certainly an issue. And I think, Mike, it becomes a more magnified issue, to piggyback on what I was saying earlier, when the parity is where the parity is. It becomes it has a greater impact on things. Listen, you can get away with 10, 12 penalties if you're vastly superior to somebody. You can play sloppy. But in this conference, you're not going to find games where you're vastly superior that you can play sloppy and win the football game. Overtime yesterday in Lexington, Kentucky. That Kentucky team had not been very good. We know Texas is struggling a little bit, but here's Texas. They maybe find themselves in an overtime game. LSU goes to Vanderbilt and loses, where Vanderbilt's favored in the game.
And Vanderbilt has not beaten LSU in 35 years.
Right. That Arkansas team that everybody had left for dead, right? Tennessee, boy, what a bad performance at home by Tennessee. Just narrowly escaping there. They blew a lead, whatever. I mean, they pushed Texas A&M, unbeaten, top 5 team in the playoffs, all those things. They pushed them as far as they could push them at home yesterday. My point being, you have to play, particularly on the road, you have to play a cleaner brand of football than what Tennessee's playing right now.
To the questions on the text line at 865-657-1278, David from Lake Oconee, Georgia, what can be done about all the penalties, in particular those prior to the snap?
I wish I had a good answer for David. I mean, that's a question that's been asked around here for numerous years about why the pre-snap penalties. Is it because you're going fast? Does that get a part of it? What is causing those things? I think there's been some operation issues at time with the center and snapping the ball. That has caused a few. Tempo might have messed some things up at other times. Lining up off sides on defense that's something you should avoid. And Tennessee hasn't had as many of those this year as they had last year, but they had another one last night, on Saturday night. So I think that I don't have an answer, but it's not good enough. I mean, it's got to be better if Tennessee is going to win games like you're wanting them to win, particularly on the road.
All right, Jeremiah from Hickson. I've heard a lot of radio personalities this week giving the fans a hard time about Heupel not being aggressive. That 3rd and 2 handoff is a glaring example of not having your head in the game. I'm not sure.
Which 3rd and 2 handoff?
I don't know.
Is he talking about the end of the first half?
Yeah, but that was not a handoff. Quarterback RPO should have been used there. I'm not sure which 3rd and 2 he's discussing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I'm missing that. We'll take a look back in the book during the break.
Maybe they had a 3rd and 1 at the 5 on that last drive that they ran and got a first down out of, and then called the timeout there.
Right.
But I don't I mean, it worked.
got a
I mean,
first
they got
down.
a first down out of it. So I'm not sure what play that is talking about there. I think the aggressiveness thing is an interesting debate that has been kind of bannered around out there. Going back to the Arkansas game, a lot of people brought it back up that ran the football and punted it there, didn't take any
Right.
shots. Then you look at the Georgia game. You ran it 3 times after the penalty there, and didn't try to get closer. Didn't try to really score. It felt like you were playing for the field goal, or so it seemed. If the play works, it's an aggressive play call.
Well,
if
and you know what's
if it doesn't work,
interesting?
it's a failure.
What's interesting, so I thought about this late last night while we were on the play. The third down play where they tried to sneak, I think it was Bishop through in the Georgia game where they ended up kicking the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
And if they get the one block, they felt like they had the right call. I wonder if some of what was being discussed right there is some of what we saw in the second half from Tennessee's run game. You've got the safeties playing off. You're in the right spot. If you get one block, you've got a chance to get that 6 or 7 yards because, Tennessee ran the ball incredibly effectively in the second half, largely due to what Alabama was doing formationally with where they had their safeties located. They're trying to take Brazel away. They're trying to take the deep shot away. And, oh, by the way, now all of a sudden you've got running lanes to be able to make some big things happen.
Well, but I think there's always the debate. And I think what you have to do, and you have to decide as a coach and a play caller, is what's the best play for us right now? Okay, and what I mean by that is think about this from Saturday night. Alabama is backed up at their 1 yard line. Okay, they're struggling to run the ball. What's their best play call? They throw a 5 yard out to Ryan Williams. It's 2 people out of 11 making a play. It's coming out so fast you really don't have to block anybody up front. They think their receiver is going to beat the corner for 5 yards and come off the goal line.
And they ran him out late too.
Mm-hmm. They did. They ran him out late and got it out there. So
nothing illegal about that. Nothing illegal from the standpoint that he was not leaving the field and then trying to come back as Oklahoma did to Auburn.
Right.
He was just very late coming into position.
Right. And so do you get the corner you want on that matchup so Tennessee can't flip corners if they're trying to flip corners and that type of thing? My point being is when you're play calling, whether it's aggressive, if it's run versus pass, what somebody views as aggressive and doesn't view as aggressive is you have to make a call to say this. I believe this is our best option to get the first down, to get the touchdown, to get off the goal line, whatever it is. And if it works, then it doesn't matter whether you're aggressive or you're not aggressive. If you get the block that you're talking about in the Georgia game, then it's a first down. Now, if you want to argue, well, you're saying too many players had to play well on that play versus I'm going to raise up and throw it, play
Right.
7-on-7. We can have that debate. Certainly. That's a fair question and a fair debate.
Jeremiah has texted back in and said he was talking about the 3rd and 2 during the first offensive drive of the game where they ran Deshaun Bishop and he only got 1 yard and they had to punt.
Mm-hmm.
That was Tennessee's first run play, by the way. They threw a couple of passes and then they ran the football.
Yeah, and I think his point, they obviously thought they saw something in the structure there, I would think. Here's the other thing I don't know. And Jeremiah, this is a question that I don't know that we have. I don't know we'll ever get all the answers to it. I don't know how many times Joey Aguilar has a true read RPO versus a declared give or a declared pull. There's a play, Mike, in the from Saturday night, and it is after the fumble where Tennessee has a -2. They get the long run down to the 35, and then they throw a pass. It's a 2-yard loss.
To Brazel.
Is it to Brazel or to Staley? It's right in front of Tennessee sideline.
Yeah, he gets taken down.
He gets taken in.
You're right.
Okay.
I think it was Staley.
There's no block taking place in front of Staley on the receiver screen. It's an easy play to make. Well, if you watch the TV clip, Josh Heupel is kind of throwing his hands up in the air like, what? and he's not looking at his two receivers. He's looking at the quarterback. So is the quarterback making the wrong read there? Is that supposed to be a handoff? I mean, I don't know what freedoms he has and doesn't have all the time in the RPO game to say that's an unaggressive play call versus the quarterback's reading something that they're doing defensively and decides to give it to the tailback or decides to pull it in the RPO game. And I'm not throwing Joey Aguilar under the bus.
No.
I'm saying I don't know what all the rules and reads are there.
And the other part of it, too, is Joey Aguilar is under more heat in that game than he has been all year. So he's taken some shots. He certainly took a shot down at the goal line and you were reporting about it all night on the Ball Network. His neck is very sore. He can't get it loose. So is he at his very best at that moment? Are the Vols flowing the same way they normally are? Because suddenly Alabama has affected them and potentially him.
Yeah. And again, there are times when you have the RPO game in place, you're putting a lot of responsibility on the quarterback to make a lot of choices. And if it's true RPO to them, and they're gonna choose right sometimes, and they're not gonna choose right sometimes. And sometimes you get got. Just like in a play call on both sides. Defensive coordinator can make a pick and he got. He makes a play call and he got a bad coverage. They got you. And that happens in the RPO game too. So I don't know on to Jeremiah's question on the first play, on the first third down, on the opening play, obviously Aguilar is at 100% right there. I don't know what his read is on that play for the give.
Well, and the other part of it too is whatever Alabama was doing early in the game against the run, and this was their first running play, Tennessee ended up having a very hard time with it. I mean, you're talking about Deshaun Bishop, who for the year is averaging 7.8 a carry. So he's been very effective. I mean, 3rd and 2 can be a running down, I think, very logically based on how well you've run it. And early in this game, you've thrown the pass to Brazel. You've thrown the pass to Staley or Matthews? Staley, I think.
Matthews,
5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're 3rd and 2. You're probably thinking, well, we can throw it here. We can run it. Let's go ahead and do what we've done and give them that look. And all of a sudden you see something different from Alabama that you have not seen, and Alabama stops you.
And by the way, it was 2nd and 2.
Initially.
Which was the real killer.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just reminding
if
that
if you're 2nd and 2 and then you're going fast, which is where the penalty's a killer, because all of a sudden you stop, the defense gets to catch their breath, everybody gets to stand, because you're all hyped up to start the game. They gain 8 yards on first down. Alabama's okay, 2nd and 2. I mean, nothing's happened, but Tennessee's had a good play. And then all of a sudden, that play, in essence, becomes a 3-yard gain instead of an 8-yard gain because of the 5-yard penalty.
And you couldn't overcome that.
And you couldn't overcome it. You couldn't overcome it. That is our Rackley Roofing recap presented by Rackley Roofing, proud official roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers. Love to have more of your text questions to discuss what you would like to discuss on this edition of Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's.
Big Orange Rewind.
Sponsored by First Horizon. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life.
By the natural gas utilities and pipeline companies in Tennessee.
Natural gas.
Pilot, the official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. RJV Kubota, with 2 convenient locations in Knoxville and Nashville. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
Coach Josh Heupel on decision making.
With our offensive play calling, we have to make decisions quickly. But there's one decision I don't have to make, my bank. Instead of choosing between big bank solutions and small bank spirit, I get the best of both with First Horizon.
Big bank muscle, small bank hustle.
For every play in life, there's a bank that has your back. That's First Horizon. Proudly serving Tennesseans for over 160 years.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit RJV Kubota locally in Knoxville or Nashville. RJV Kubota, a proud supporter of the Vols.
Vol Nation, if you're looking for quality performance apparel, look no further than Turtleson. Founded by UT alumni out of Bristol, Tennessee, Turtleson designs clothes and accessories that fit your lifestyle. From the office to the country club or the Tennessee Volunteers tailgate, Turtleson has the apparel that looks as good as it feels. Ask for Turtleson wherever you buy your volunteer gear or visit Turtleson.com to learn more. Turtleson is a proud sponsor of the Vol Network. Go Vols!
Mike, Brent, and you. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
David in Winchester has a question on the text line at 865-657-1278. On the sequence right before the pick six, Brent Hubbs, why did we let the clock run all the way down to 12 seconds instead of calling a timeout with 20 to think about it? Then the plays that were called after that were so predictable any team could defend. Now, I've got the book here. Tennessee has a first down at the Alabama 14 with 37 seconds to go. Joey Aguilar tries to throw to Brazel, and the pass is incomplete, and that took 6 seconds. So on 2nd and 10, the Vols run Bishop for 9 yards to the Alabama 5, and they get on the ball. They do not take a timeout there. So 16 seconds total runoff between the run and getting lined up. They choose not to use a timeout. The Vols then run Bishop for 3 yards to the Alabama 2 and take the timeout at 13 seconds. So they snapped it at 15, the whistle blew, and they took the timeout at 13. And they reset it then to 12. So 1st and goal at the 2, 12 seconds to go, Bishop to the 1 yard line, timeout Tennessee, followed by timeout Alabama, and then the interception occurred, the play starting with 8 seconds to go. So where they did choose to let the clock run down was between the 2nd and 10 play and the 3rd and 1 play. They did not take a timeout there, which I guess they theoretically could have. They had taken their first timeout with 37 seconds to go.
Yeah, I mean,
so they didn't let it run from 20 to 12, but they did go from 31 to 15 before snapping.
Yes, and, clock management there. The bottom line is you had 9 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm.
You had the option for 2 plays there. With 9 seconds, you can run 2 plays.
Mm-hmm.
And that's either got to be a touchdown or an incompletion. And if it's an incompletion, you kick a field goal. And if it's a touchdown, then you sprint into the locker room. But it's one of those 2 plays there from a management standpoint. There's always debate on when you should use timeouts, when you shouldn't use timeouts, and things like that. But Tennessee got what they wanted at the end at 2 snaps.
Well, and I would guess they did not want to take a timeout at 3rd and 1. I'm just surmising, because they would not want Alabama to set their personnel to defend 3rd and 1.
Correct. Now, what's interesting to me is, and again, you can play every hypothetical, but we have time, so why not?
Yeah,
right?
it's 2 hours.
So if you take the timeout in which the text question suggests and wonders, do you take the timeout there? Could you have then, when you got the first down?
Now you're down to 1 timeout at that point if you go ahead and take it then.
Right. So when you got the first down, don't take the timeout. Because remember, they took the timeout after there. So you had 2 timeouts at that point, right?
You took the second one.
Where's my book?
I've got it right here. You took the second one at 12 seconds.
Correct. Okay. So when you make the first down at 12 seconds, if you had taken the timeout earlier, if you had taken the timeout at 20 seconds, or instead of letting it run down to 15.
I mean, it probably would have been 22 or 23.
Right.
Let's say you're right.
So you take the timeout there. Can you, with the clock stop for a first down
at 18 seconds?
Do you get reset and get a play going there, and then you can still manage? To me, you're not getting really any. Maybe one more throw. I
don't think you're saving time because you would be down to 1 timeout anyway. I mean, maybe you are, but the thing is, let's say you run the 3rd and 1 at the 5. After a timeout, which you've now allowed Alabama to set their defense for.
Mm-hmm.
So you hope you make it. If you do, you get on the ball and run something quick, or would you rather take that timeout there and then have 1st and goal at the 2, which, of course, then allows Alabama to set their defense as well. But it allows you to set your personnel the way you want to and to get reset. And part of the issue, the personnel package that Tennessee was using in that instance is not one they often use. So in terms of formational changes, things that you can do with that group, that bunch doesn't know a lot of plays.
Mm-hmm. And again, with 9 seconds to play, with 9 seconds to play, if you throw that out and it's incomplete, there's 6 seconds left. I mean, I don't think you run another play. You probably run the kicker out and kick it, but maybe you get another play that way.
You might get it down to, if you're throwing 2 fades, you might get 2 fades in 6 seconds.
Right.
And then be able to run the kicker out there with a second or 2. I mean, it's pretty risky. Because I'm like you. I mean, we're talking about it. Ramon and I are talking about it. Jason Swain's involved in the conversation off the air. You're thinking you've got to come out of here with at least a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're thinking, man, 16-10 looks pretty good here. And you've run the last, 4:05? Yeah, you've run the last 4:05 off the clock. You didn't give Alabama a chance to double you up there.
Right. So you've at least pushed on the middle 8, if not win the middle 8.
And the crowd's quiet going into the locker room.
Right.
There is no boisterous, we're up 23-7 at that point. They're going, we got to play the second half now. We're excited. We're having a good time. But, the feeling, and I'm sure you felt it on the field, the place shook.
Oh.
When Brown scored, you thought the place was going to collapse from the vibration.
Just the buzz that was going around. Just in the tunnel and everywhere underneath. It was just, they were jubilation, but they were almost shocked at what had happened. But it was euphoria because of what had happened. So yeah, it was certainly it changed everything about.
And yet, Tennessee came right back out and got back in the game.
Well, that's the unfortunate part about this. Nobody wants to hear it, and I understand that. But the mettle that Tennessee showed to start the second, because I've seen games like that. You have too.
Yeah.
Where a play like that happens and the game's over. Like, your team does not recover from that type of play. For Tennessee to come back and to do what they did to start the second half defensively, 2 straight stops, including the turnover, sandwiched in there or in between those 2 is a touchdown. You got a chance to make it a 1-score game, and then all of a sudden you've withstood it. Now it's game on. We're in a one-score game. You're one stop away from having the lead. Or tying the game. Here you go. So it just, again, you can debate all of the decisions, and rightfully so. It's what fans do. That's what we do the day after and the week after a game. You can debate everything from a clock management, from a play call personnel, all those things down there. The one thing you couldn't do was what you did. And that's you just could not have that happen.
Well, I mean, the whole thing, the whole goal right there is we're going to the locker room one score down.
It's a given.
Whether it's 16-10 or 16-14, and you'd rather it be 16-14, but again, we talk about Georgia, what they did at the end of the first half up here, and everybody, the thought process is, Kirby Smart's going to go for it right here. He sent the kicker out, kicked it. He said, we're going to keep playing this game.
Right.
Because the longer we play this game, the better chance we got to win it. 16-10 is not as good as 16-14, but it's one score.
And I think that's exactly what Josh Heupel was doing there.
I agree.
I just don't think nobody in their mind thought the ball was going to be behind Kitzelman to the degree that someone could pick it off and go 99 yards for a score.
And Bishop nearly got it.
He did.
Oh.
That would have changed things.
That would have changed things some. Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun. Your text questions at 865-657-1278.
A farm, a family, and a tradition of premium fresh sausage that's lasted almost a century. Using only the freshest ingredients and finest cuts of meat for flavor that is locked in instantly. Each bite of Swaggerty's Farm sausage transports you back to a warm, cozy southern kitchen, leaving you satisfied and ready to take on the day. Swaggerty's Farm, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. Now available at your local retailers.
This is Mike Keith, and you're listening to the Ford F-150 Truck Highlight Show. Go Vols! The smart, powerful Ford F-150 turned in another championship caliber performance. Thanks to available Pro Power onboard and outstanding payload numbers, fans will be talking about this tailgate for years to come. For great offers on a new Ford F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of Tennessee Athletics.
See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions.
It's football time in Tennessee, and Alumni Hall is the place to gear up for your Tennessee Vols. Shop the largest and newest selection of top brands like Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, New Era, Yeti, and more. Mix and match champion tees, 2 for $38, and spend $150 to earn $10 Hall cash for your next visit. Shop AlumniHall.com. Visit Alumni Hall in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, Bristol, or Johnson City, or download their app. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping destination.
Rackley Roofing is now the official roofer of the Vols, and Rackley is more than a roofing company. They're part of the communities where they work and live, investing in neighborhoods and opening doors to a career in an industry that's growing year after year. Rackley Roofing's mission is clear: transform the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Because Rackley believes the ladder to a great roof is only as good as the people who climb it. Rackley Roofing, building roofs, building future.
Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, continues.
A programming note for next week: due to Tennessee's exhibition basketball game against the Duke Blue Devils at Food City Center next Sunday, the next Big Orange Rewind will be Sunday, November 2nd. No show next week. Vols, Blue Devils, Vol Radio Network, airtime 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, tip-off 7 Eastern, 6 Central. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, a little better than me rambling for 2 hours. We've got Duke and Tennessee basketball. Everybody gets to see Nate Ament. They get to see Jacoby Gillespie. They get to see Jalen Carey and what this post play looks like against
the
a
Boozers.
Really good team. Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll be
And I'm
fun.
talking about Cameron. I'm not making a value judgment. Cameron and his brother Caden.
I mean, it'll be fun.
Yes.
It'll be a great matchup. Great. Again, the result doesn't matter. It's how you play and what it looks like But I love these things that are developing in college basketball. I love what is developing.
Would you love to
here.
see it in spring football?
Oh, yeah. I don't think that's ever going to be realistic, but yes.
How much longer do you think we'll have spring football?
Not much longer.
It'll be like the OTA things in the NFL, won't it?
Yeah. Well, they're basically doing OTAs in the summer now.
Right.
And so I think what they're going to let you do, what I think will eventually happen is the what you're doing in the summer now, there will be a small window of opportunity in there where you can use blocking sleds and you can put a helmet on and you can do things beyond what you're doing right now. But it'll be a condensed version of spring ball.
But if there is a situation that occurs, which many people, including Danny White, believe needs to happen with collective bargaining, would the athlete say, I'm not going to go out and put on pads and hit somebody when it doesn't count?
And so maybe they just use sleds and they don't use pads.
Right.
Right now you can't use any equipment when you go out there and do
Talk about during the summer.
During the summertime, you can't use equipment. Like you can go out and throw it, you can throw
Sure.
routes on air, and you can run all those things, but you can't put blocking sleds out there.
No, you can put in the offense and
the
put in the
defense.
defense and things like that.
So I think we're going to get to the point where they're going to be able to use equipment during a window, a period of time in the summer.
I'm talking about spring practice.
No, I think spring practice is going away. Collective bargaining or not, I think spring practice is on its way out the door. I think coaches like what they can do in the summertime if you give them a little bit more than what they get out of 15 days.
And they could do that in the spring anyway.
Yes. I think they like that more.
Roger in Lewisburg at 865-657-1278. That is the text line. 865-657-1278. Roger in Lewisburg, listening to WJJM, one of our Great Ball Network stations, wants to know injury updates from the Alabama game. Anything jump out to you? I mean, obviously Joey Aguilar is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a physical game. A lot of guys banged them and beaten up. I mean, Lance Hurd had a little ankle. He pushed through. I don't think it's anything significant. Obviously, Bishop came back in the game. Weathersby was dealing with some pains, and he went back in and out of the lineup some. Hobbs had a little bit of a foot pain. They had to retape that up and some stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything of significance other than we're all going to see where Joey Aguilar was. And I'll say this about Joey Aguilar. He missed some things. There were things he would love to have back. I don't know that anybody really got a great viewpoint of the discomfort that he was dealing with throughout that game. You could see it on the sidelines, just kind of the grimace when he was swinging his arms, Mike, the grimace he had when he was just throwing a couple warm-up passes before a series started. He was in discomfort. He was clearly uncomfortable and gutted it out. I am sure that there's still some soreness and discomfort from that. We'll see how that goes throughout the week. I don't have any reason to believe it's anything long term, but man, he fought through quite a bit of pain.
Did it happen on the hit where he ran down near the goal line on Tennessee's first touchdown drive?
And then it got magnified on the late hit.
Yeah,
so
that was.
So you had the hit down at the goal line on
Right.
the sideline, and after that, of course, he throws the touchdown pass to Staley.
Pretty play.
And he comes back over to the bench, and you're sitting there, and you're walking by, and all of a sudden you look, and there's a trainer who's just kind of looking at him and feeling around on his back, and he's kind of moving his neck around and kind of rolling his shoulders and see what he could do. And so they put a little cream on it or whatever and kind of got him back ready to go. And then that late hit happened, and from that point on, the discomfort level was certainly ramped up. It was certainly more discomfort from that point on than there was prior to that. He was late coming out of the locker room to get loose for the
very
second half.
late. Yeah, he was. You know how I knew that is so I've got the glasses, the binoculars, and George McIntyre and Jake Merklinger are back out there, and they're throwing. I don't want to say feverishly, but they're really getting loose. And I don't see Aguilar. And he was, if not the last man out, he was certainly one of the last people out. And he was clearly with the training staff and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and there was multiple conversations after that late hit and beyond through the rest of the game. There were multiple conversations with Merklinger just here with the iPad of, look, what do you think about this? And there was never that fever pitch like, hey, go get some snaps. You got to go right now. But there was certainly making sure he was fully engaged because it felt like it was a little bit dicey series to series with Joey. But Joey just kept saying, I can play. I'm good to go. I'll go.
Well, he's not coming out.
He's not coming out. And he was not going to come out. And he didn't.
I mean, he's so fired up to be Tennessee's quarterback. I mean, they're going to have to make him. I mean, just like what happened in the Arkansas game where he landed on the ball on the long run and he had to come out for a play. And I mean, that wasn't exactly what he wanted to do.
No. And you know, he
gets it.
Yep. He understands this is the opportunity he's dreamed of having, and he's not going to miss out on any of it if he can go in any way, shape, or form. And he did whatever it took to be able to finish that game last night or Saturday night.
Yes, he did. All right, let's get another question. I've got one from Brian in Harrisburg, North Carolina. Okay. The Vols are 5-2. Competitive losses to Georgia and Alabama. Thinking positively if Tennessee wins out, given that Oklahoma and Vandy are ranked ahead of us, what is the likelihood of making the college football playoff? Obviously, Tennessee must run the table, but even if they do, is there still a chance for the CFP?
I mean, you never say never, right? And I mean, because there's so many games in front of you with other teams that are that don't have, you know, that could certainly lose games. I mean, you probably wish, if you're a Tennessee and you're looking at that question, Missouri to lose to Auburn would help. You know, second loss there. Arkansas would have been nice because A&M doesn't have a loss. Alabama's obviously playing well. Georgia's playing well. Notre Dame's win over SC, unless they just spit the bit, because they're going to be favorites for everybody else. They're in at 10-2. They'll get in. So it'll be hard, but it's not impossible. I mean, you got to go out and play and see what happens around you.
Well, but if you look at how the season has unfolded to this point, kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every college football season gets more crazy. I mean, UAB beat Memphis. You're like, how? How did that? Florida State beat Alabama. Right now, you're asking the question, how?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well,
and so my point is, if you take care of your business the rest of the way, I think you feel pretty good about your chances at 10-2.
Yeah, I mean,
10-2, 6-2 in the SEC.
Yeah. Again, depends on what everybody else does around you.
Agreed.
You don't control your own destiny.
I understand all of that.
But you're not out, obviously.
Well, I'm taking – and you're not in.
Right.
I get that. I'm just taking the overriding goofiness that is college football right now, that if you take care of your business – because, I mean I think it was – what was his name? I can't remember. I deleted it already. I'm sorry. Harrisburg, North Carolina. Wonderful question. I mean, your losses are to Georgia and Alabama.
Those quality losses.
We've heard of them.
Yes.
I mean, they've had programs for a while.
And you lost those games early.
Right.
Which helps because some teams are going to lose late.
And you didn't lose by 50 points.
Right. Now, if you're him and you're looking at this, you want Oklahoma to win. So that's a better looking win if you can win that football game.
Sure.
Same thing with Vanderbilt.
Absolutely.
Keep winning. And then that's a better looking win if you win that football game. Here's the challenge for college football fans. And this is going to be the hardest challenge for fans. And that is to get comfortable with the fact that you're not going to run the table. I just don't think we're in a world where there's just going to be these one or two dominant teams, and they're a given to go 12-0. This is so much like the NFL.
It's a tournament sport, Brent. This is now a tournament sport. That's the difference in college football now and 5 years ago.
No question. And so I was having this conversation with somebody about, well, I think college coaches are more interested in the NFL than they've ever been because of the transfer portal and because of rev share and this. And I said, here's why there might be interest in and he was talking about the calendar and timing. Here's another factor. In the NFL, you go 8-8 and make the playoffs. In some cases.
Mm.
Close.
Well, first of all, you'd either have to be 9-8 or 8-9.
Well, sorry, that's right. You added
17 games.
Okay.
Yes.
But
I didn't add a game.
But my point being, you can be a game or two over 500
Right.
and make the playoffs.
Right.
In college football, if you're 500 or a game over 500, in some places you're the hot seat. It's different.
Right.
But my point to saying all that is the mentality is going to at some point shift in the college game to understand that 3-loss seasons doesn't mean it's a disastrous season, or a 2-loss season doesn't mean it's a disastrous season, because you're still going to have a chance to get in the tournament, because the tournament's going to grow.
But it's going to grow. And the other thing, too, it's why you're trying, if you're down 17, it's why you're trying to score late in the game, because there's going to be some voter somewhere that only sees the final score.
Mm-hmm.
And everything like that counts now. It is a beauty contest still to a certain extent until you get into the tournament. So you still have that element about college football that you always had with the polls, because that element is still in there in terms of who gets into the playoff. But once you're in, then it's just ball, which we've always longed for. Many of us have always longed for.
Well, and now we're getting ball where every game is a 60-minute dogfight.
It's good for the consumer. I don't know that it's good for the coach and the AD.
No, but it's
and the
good
hardcore fan.
Yeah.
Because you used to love those Saturdays that you would show up and you'd be playing Speed Bump You, and that would be it.
Or you would go, hey, it's nice to have one of these.
Oh.
Or then you would get into it. Then you get to a couple of minutes. I just want to play some. I want to be in a competitive game. And now it's every week. Every week, that's where you're at.
A break, and then back with more of your questions via text at 865-657-1278. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
Vol Nation, it's Coach Heupel. Every time I step out on Shields-Watkins Field, I'm reminded once again why it's great to be a Tennessee Vol. The storied history, the cherished tradition, the past, the future. As the official travel stop of the Vols, Pilot has made it their mission to ensure that the home of the Vols is preserved with pride for generations to come. Neyland Stadium, preserved by Pilot. See you out here.
Vol fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve Vol fans since 1983.
Presented by Calhoun's. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Tennessee on their way to Kentucky Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern Time, 6:45 Central Time for the kickoff from Kroger Field. Brent Hubbs, Ramon Foster, Jason Swain, the brain trust of the Vol Network, on the air with Big Orange Countdown at 5 Eastern, 4 Central. Weather is different today in East Tennessee. Expected to be different in northern Kentucky, northeastern Kentucky. Brent Hubbs excited about being on the sidelines at Kroger Field, where Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never been there, there has never been any wind there ever. Would you say that it is the most wind-affected stadium in the Southeastern Conference?
Yes, I will say with some of the renovations they've done, they've kind of dampened the wind a little bit with some of the suites that they've been. But yes, because it's always windy. That's the reason why it's a factor there. There's always wind.
I guess Vanderbilt Stadium is the place that it was the most affected that we ever saw a game in 1988 where it blew the extra point back because they were having a massive storm there. But that was just an unusual weather occurrence. Kroger Field is one that every time you're there, you feel like, and we historically always went in November. So it could be 40 degrees and it felt like it was 8. Right?
Because it's a northern wind.
Oh.
It's a gray northern wind.
It's the northern wind of Kroger Field.
Even at noon, it was a gray northern wind.
Tennessee and Kentucky, Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern Time kick. The Vols and the Wildcats, Kentucky will enter the game at 2-4, 0-4 in the conference. Tennessee is 5-2 overall, 2-2 in the SEC. Tennessee and Kentucky this Saturday night on this Ball Network station.
Miss any of today's Rewind? Catch the full podcast with Mike Keith and Brett Hubbs. UTSports.com. We are the Vol Network. Exclusive guest, insider analysis. You know what happened, find out why and how, and what happens next. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Grab a taste after the next Tennessee game. Calhoun's.
Mike Keith, Brett Hubbs, Big Orange Rewind. Glad to have you with us. Tennessee falls at Alabama 37-20. Volunteers are on their way to Kentucky this weekend. Kentucky 2-4 after losing in overtime to Arch Manning and the Texas Longhorns 16-13. Arch Manning was 12 of 27 for 132. Kentucky's pass defense that good?
Yeah, I think Texas just having a hard time, throwing it. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily Kentucky's elite pass defense. And I mean, Mark Stoops has always put a good secondary on the field traditionally. I mean, they're pretty physical back there, athletic. But I think when you look at the overall numbers for Texas throughout the season, completion percentage is low, hovering around 50, and yards per catch are low. They're just not very explosive offensively, haven't been very explosive offensively.
All right, ready to take some questions on the text line?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Let's go to Mark. Correction. Let's see if Mike can read. Let's go to Matt in Ashland City. I got new glass frames, not new glasses, but that's another story. Matt in Ashland City, it seems that we abandoned the run game in the first half. Do you have the breakdown on run versus pass plays in the game? And why do we not ride the hot hand more with the running backs? So Tennessee ran it a total of 33 times for 142 yards. Now, 4 of those were sacks, and 1 of them was the bad snap. So Tennessee actually ran the ball 28 times in the game. They threw it 44 times in the game. In the first half, if I'm not mistaken, that was more pronounced. I'm turning to that now.
They ran it one time in the opening drive.
They did.
On the second drive, they ran it.
Here's the halftime stats. No, go ahead.
They according to the breakdown, they had 5 rushes in the first quarter and 8 passes. But what you have to factor in there is there's 2 sacks in the first quarter.
Right.
So it really turns into, in the first quarter, you had 3 rushes and 10 passing. So it looks like it was about 10-3 passing to rushing attempts in the first quarter.
In the first quarter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you answered that. Why do we not ride the hot hand with the running backs?
Well, I think they're riding the hot hand with Bishop. To his point, could they have got him jump started faster? Could they have got into the run game a little bit quicker? Now, my argument back to that is, I mean, Tennessee was moving the ball, but they didn't have a ton of balance when you look at it. But they came out throwing it. I mean, they were, I don't know, pass happy is the right word, but they were certainly open to throwing the ball to start the game in the first quarter. Is that because of the structures that they got? You know, whatever the case may be, that's what they felt like. Now, in the few running opportunities Tennessee had, they weren't successful running the football.
No.
And so that changes a little bit of that outlook too.
And the other thing too, mentioning the sacks, when you get in trouble with a sack, especially on first or second down, you can't run the ball.
Correct. Well, I mean,
you get 3rd and 22, you're going to be throwing, so to speak.
Yeah, Deshaun Bishop's first 2 carries of the game, and it netted 1 yard.
1 yard.
So I mean, they were not out of the gates flying. At one point, Kitzelman had more yards rushing than anybody on the team had because of the 4th down conversion. They found something in the second half much better. They started to find a little bit of it in the second quarter. You look at the first touchdown drive. They had 17 yards, 19 yards, 21 yards from Lewis on that first touchdown drive, which was a 10-play, 78-yard drive.
So overall, they developed the run game more as they went. By the way, interesting stat on Deshaun Bishop, his last 30 carries. So the final 2 from the game at Mississippi State, and then the last 2 games where he's had 14 carries. His last 30 carries, 299 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's 10 yards a carry.
I think he leads the league in yards.
7-8 now.
Yeah.
Which is why, when you're talking about running him on 3rd and 2, that doesn't seem like a bad move.
Right. He's kind of found his groove. I think he's got a hot hand right now. I think Ramon's talked about this so much on the broadcast, and rightfully so. I think he's allowing things to develop better. He's showing patience, but then his burst has gotten better. And you go look at what he did on the touchdown run.
Pretty.
I mean, when he saw the crease, man, it was go time. And so his explosion and getting up to speed in a hurry has gotten better.
Well, and what showed me something too, from an athletic standpoint, is him nearly catching Brown on the interception return. He was the man. Not only do I love the hustle, but I mean, Brown can run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like really run. And he didn't catch him, but he gave himself a chance. And I thought at halftime, I thought, Deshaun Bishop is faster than I thought he was.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have kind of always viewed him as just kind of a grinder. He's if it's blocked for 4, he'll get you 6. That type of guy because he's going to fall forward. But that's all that. There's not a ton of big plays there. He's got big play capability. He does.
His first 47 carries, he produced 305 yards and 3 touchdowns. His last 30 carries, 299 yards and 4 touchdowns. So now for the year, he has 604 rushing. If he keeps up this pace that he's had the last 2 games especially, even back to Mississippi State, I think he finished over 80 yards in that game. He's going to be a 1,000-yard rusher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this program, this offense produces 2,000 yards on the ground, is what they've traditionally done, and they've got to get going to get where they want to be running the football. But I think they're finding their identity better running the football the last couple of weeks. I think the question I have is, do they settle in on 5? What do they do with their offensive line?
Offensive line.
What kind of rotation do they have there to continue the kind of some continuity with the run game and continue to produce the way it's producing? And then again, I think Bishop is a guy that the more times he touches the ball, the better he is, because I do think he has a kind of that workman mentality. I mean, he's be better carries 15 through 20 than he is carries 1 through 5 in some games. So I think you're going to see him continue to touch it. I'd love to see him continue to get a bunch of touches because I think he's playing well.
Question on the text line, not that it was going to make any difference in this game particularly, but when you can, please speak to the strategy of going for it instead of kicking the field goal on 4th and 11 when you need 3 scores. See this frequently across multiple levels of football. Baffling, says the texter.
I would have kicked the field goal there. Josh Heupel was asked about it post-game when he was asked about the decision to go for it there instead of kick the field goal. Said trying to make a play. Didn't really dive into why he elected to do that, but was certainly looking for a touchdown, I guess. At that point, I think a lot of the analytics would say kick the field goal. His reply in the press conference was, yeah, you're just in a position where you're close to the end zone. Ultimately, you got to come up with that one. So, not a real specific answer to it. He's right. I don't think it makes a difference, but I think if you're playing the analytics, if you're an analytics person, you're in a go situation that entire drive. And what I mean by go situation is there's no hesitation and debate about going for it on 4th down, regardless of where you're at on the field, until you get into field goal range. And then to me, the analytics take a different turn because you have to look at what do we need? How do we get as much as we can? We need 3 scores anyway. Better chance of kicking the field goal here and getting 2 more possessions than converting 4th and 11. Because even if you convert 4th and 11, you still need 2 scores. You still need 2 more possessions with the football. So to me, analytically, it says you kick the field goal there. But Josh Heupel, not only did he not kick the field goal, he bled the play clock down and then called timeout to come up with a play that didn't work for Tennessee.
Keith from Franklin, not happy with the back 7 on defense. Understand they played better at points on Saturday. We all understand the loss of the 2 corners, but the biggest reason we can't play zone a lick, 3rd and 10-plus defense in the middle. He's concerned that the personnel's not fast enough on the back end.
Yeah, I think I understand that question too, and the concern about the athletic ability. Some of that is just a feel for the game. It's just your IQ, it's your understanding, and I think it's unfair to put it all on one position when you're talking about zone coverage because I think that involves a lot of layers. That involves your linebacker layer, your safeties, your star position. In a lot of cases, you're doing a lot of different things there with the zone. But it's awareness. It's passing things off. It's communicating better. It's not always about being the fastest guy because it's not just playing center field, Mike, and a free safety's running sideline to sideline to bat the ball away. You got to communicate that as the linebacker got this here, the nickel guy got this when you're passing across a zone and you're playing in your area. So I don't think it's always just about speed in zone because you're playing an area and a man in that area. They're just not cohesive enough and tight enough there. The windows are just too big. And I don't think it's fair to say that the windows are big because they're slow. I think the windows are big because they don't have a great feel for it. They don't seem to play it well enough and drop the way they need to, or they drop too far, or
when one piece is out of place, you're exposed.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, it is angles, it's communication, it's consistency, and you've got to get pressure up front too. I mean, all those things factor in, but it has not been tight enough this year for whatever reason.
Well,
I would agree with that.
Remember this too: when you're playing zone, if the quarterback gets out of the pocket, everything about the zone changes.
Right.
And so when that happens, do you go with? We saw this in the Arkansas game. Somebody goes too far to the quarterback. The backside of the zone doesn't come with him
fast enough.
And all of a sudden now, and it's not because
of speed,
right? It's because his awareness is at a different place because
right.
his eyes are not as good as they need to be or whatever.
He hasn't made the decision quickly enough.
Yeah. And so I think you see those things happening with Tennessee some as well in zone, but their zone's just not been good enough all season long.
Mark in Knoxville with an interesting one.
Okay.
I'm very concerned about the welfare of all the SEC coaches and their families.
Okay.
Every week, half the teams are going to lose, and many fans want to fire the coach. Next year will be worse because we go to 9 games. It's just near impossible for any team to roll through the season without having some losses, and every fan base has unrealistic expectations. With the combination of competition and rabid fan bases, I'm afraid you are going to see SEC coaches leave the league, become difficult to replace, and eventually the teams will weaken. Can SEC fans ever evolve to the new way? No.
I was waiting.
I don't think so, because the reason the SEC is what it is because of how the fan bases are, the rabidity that's out there, the way people just love it the way they do. It's part of our lives. I mean, you see the Alabama people on Saturday night, and if you're a Tennessee fan, you may not care for them, but you certainly respect them because they're there and they're in force and they're with their team and they're having a good time. And you see the same thing when you go to Georgia and LSU, and we saw it at Mississippi State. I mean, people, it's a big part of your life in this part of the country. The other part of it, too, is these coaches aren't going to leave because of the pressure, because the money's here.
Right.
They're getting paid. And their programs are funded. They can get players in the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
They can get a facility built. They have a good scoreboard. They have nice weekends for the visits for the players. They have facilities where the players have their own snow cone machine and whatever they need. So this is where coaches want to be, because this is where the action is.
You're also not traveling 1,400 miles to play a game. Not like in some other
not
conferences.
like in some other conferences, but I mean, it's pretty far to College Station from Columbia, South Carolina.
It's not going 3 time zones to play.
It's true.
Like North Carolina and Florida State did this week.
It's true. You're correct.
I do wonder what I don't think the mentality will change, but is there some adaptation to things with an expanded playoff, more teams getting in? It's never going to be college basketball that it's the regular season's diminished. It's not, there's no comparison. That's apples and oranges. But does there become a little more of a, well, man, that was a terrible loss. It was hard to lose, but we still have a chance to get it. Does that pacify is not the right word? Does that
placate,
help you manage the disappointment? I don't think so. It was interesting to me. Kirby Smart said this week, maybe it was after the game on Saturday. Somebody asked him at some point about, is it good for the game if you expand the playoffs? And he was like, oh, yeah, we need more teams in. More teams need to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And he's right, but I wonder if that's a little bit of I know we're not going to run the table like we have run the table every year. So, no, I don't think fan bases are going to calm down. Now, the bigger question is, do important decision makers view it differently than the fan base? The fan base is always going to be mad.
Sure.
It doesn't matter what level of sport. Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame player, they're going to bench somebody on Monday after their team lost Saturday or Sunday. But do decision makers have a different approach to things than we've seen in the past?
And I think then, if the fan bases start to sense that coaches aren't going to be fired,
but this year is not a good example.
Yeah, this is not but you're right. You're right. But don't you think some of the firings that we're seeing right now are about roster retention and how the dollars are going to be spent going forward, because you're going to have to make decisions about your own players, and for the new coach, you're going to have to be fair to him in order to give him the ability to make some decisions about finances towards the roster? I think that's why we're seeing more firings right now in college football earlier, like Billy Napier getting it on October the 19th at Florida. I think that's about his roster and Florida's roster going forward from whomever the next coach is. And also the early signing period being in place, because it's December 17th? Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's, less than 2 months away.
And here's the other question when you talk about this.
Okay.
Since we're jumping off on this point.
Mark asked.
Well, Mark asked, but how much more influence is there now for these decisions from the people who are given the money?
Well, a lot.
I mean, the story at Florida is reported story. I don't have it confirmed. I'm just citing reports that were out there last week that the money people said, we're not going to continue to support financially if this is where you're going to be with your coach.
And what was amazing about those reports is those reports said October 19th was going to be the day Billy Napier gets it. Because Florida's going into the bye week before they play Georgia. And so these reports were saying it, and some people this past weekend were mocking the reports, say, well, that's rather specific, and boom, he gets it on the day the report said. So I think there's something to what's out there in terms of the money people. I mean, you don't think that was part of it at Penn State?
Sure.
Somebody at Penn State had seen enough of James Franklin,
So back to Mark's question is, does that bleed down the talent level of coaches? Because some people say, well, now I'm having to answer to somebody who's just given a bunch of money, and they're not
They've
my
always
boss.
been there.
They're not my boss. And
But
they're not,
Brent,
but it's public now.
It is public, but you're also in a situation. I think,
and
I don't think it's because it's public. I mean, we've always known who all the money people were around the conference. I mean, you've known the names of the people who were the money people at Ole Miss and Arkansas for years, even though you've never met them. But I think what it is now is it's about more money.
But here's the other thing that factors in too. Indiana's paying a football coach $11 million.
Sure are.
So used to be, you come to this conference because the money was vastly superior.
Yes.
Salaries were superior.
Yes.
Contracts were more favorable for the coach. Facilities were better. Recruiting budget was better. And on and on and on. Mm-hmm. Well, now you can go get $7-8 million at a place that you never dreamed would pay $7 or $8 million for a football coach. Does that change a coach's decision-making process?
Well, I mean, if Cignetti's going to be paid like that at IU, why would he ever leave?
Exactly. Well, let's look at it in the SEC. Lane Kiffin's name is going to be all over the Florida job. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that was a laydown. Tommy Tuberville leaves to go to Auburn.
Well, just like Dan Mullen leaving Mississippi State to go to Florida. There was no question he was going to do that.
Now it's not a given.
No.
Because financially, I mean, Ole Miss is paying $9 million for Lane Kiffin to coach football there.
That's right.
They've got an NIL plan. They've got rev share. They've got facilities. They have a passionate fan base.
Well, they've won double-digit games 3 times since he's been there.
So if I would have told you in 2000, hey, the Ole Miss job and the Florida job are comparable,
why?
Would you have said they were comparable jobs, or would you have said Florida's a better job than Ole Miss?
I would have said Florida's a better job.
Yeah. Would you say that now? As clearly?
No, that's fair. You got me. You win. We'll go to break on that. I lost, so I need a break.
It's a red letter day.
It's a
banner day.
Hang on, mark this on the calendar.
October the 19th.
Yeah.
I forced a break over a point I made.
Yeah, I mean, you win. I quit. Big Orange Rewind.
Don't quit. We've got 30 minutes left.
Fortunately, Calhoun's is not quitting. 9 area locations, including a location in Neyland Stadium. A taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, your sponsor of Big Orange Rewind on the Ball Network.
Big Orange Rewind on the Ball Network.
Sponsored by Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping experience. By Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, the official insurance of the Vols. Tennessee Insurance for a Tennessee Life. Co-op, proudly supplying your rural lifestyle in Big Orange Country. And by UT Medical Center, the official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
Natural gas is building a brighter future for Tennesseans, powering the places where we live, work, and grow. It's more affordable than electricity and cleaner than other conventional energy sources. Natural gas makes every meal easier, delivering precision and speed in the kitchen. From your grill to your appliances, natural gas is there, keeping your life moving. And natural gas is the energy behind Tennessee's thriving industries.
Natural gas.
This October, Protrition Feeds, manufacturer of Co-op and Cumberland Mills branded feeds, is proud to partner with your co-op and stand with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Be on the lookout for the pink feed tags because your livestock feed purchase will fight breast cancer in October. Protrition Feeds will donate to Susan G. Komen for every pink tag feed sold, helping raise awareness and fund life-saving research, advocacy, and care. Learn more at your local co-op. Together with farm families, employees, and co-op communities across our region this October, we feed strong, fight strong.
Tennessee pride runs deep from Neyland Stadium to the family farm. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we stand behind the Tennessee farmers who feed and fuel our nation, just like we cheer for the Vols on game day. Because we understand that whether you farm every day, only on the weekends, or simply enjoy time on property outside of town, we have loans to fit your needs. Because farming matters, and so does every play, every harvest, every heartbeat of Tennessee. Learn how Farm Credit Mid-America serves the great state of Tennessee at FCMA.com. Loan subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Farm Credit Mid-America is an equal opportunity lender.
In this town, we don't just root for the team. We are the team. We rise before the sun, stay long after the lights go out. We are Big Orange Country. And with this team stands another, UT Medical Center. We heal the hurt, fuel the comeback, keep Vol Nation stronger, tougher, together, with care that never lets up. UT Medical Center, official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
A look back and what's next. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Need a haircut? With the Great Clips app, you can put your name on the list from anywhere and head to the salon when you're up next. Because getting a great haircut shouldn't mean putting your life on hold. Great Clips, it's going to be great. Brent Hubbs, time for the Built Ford Tough Report. Kentucky game. It's time to take an in-depth look at the Vols' next opponent, the Kentucky Wildcats, with the Built Ford Tough Report brought to you by your local Ford dealer, Tennessee Football, and the Ford F-150. Tough runs in our family. Kentucky is 2-4 overall, 0-4 in the SEC after a heartbreaking 16-13 overtime loss to Texas on Saturday. Redshirt freshman quarterback Cutter Boley passed for 258 yards and rushed for 45 against the Longhorns. He has 4 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in 5 games. Wide receiver Kendrick Law, an Alabama transfer, is the Wildcats' leading receiver, 22 catches, 199 yards. Seth McGowan, he used to play for Oklahoma. Is that right?
I think that's right. I can look right quick.
Averages 5.1 a carry and has scored 7 touchdowns. He had 7 catches for 68 yards against Texas Saturday.
You were correct. He is New Mexico State, Butler Community College,
By
Oklahoma.
the way, does every running back play for New Mexico State? Is that where you
it's required? It's double A ball.
You're required to start there?
It's double A ball, yes. There's a bunch of them.
It's incredible.
It is
I
incredible.
mean, Tennessee has one.
Mhm.
Alex Afari and safety Ty Bryant are the Wildcats' leading tacklers. The Built Ford Tough Report is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers. Talk to me about where you think Kentucky is. I mean, I know it's north of here, but where they are sort of as a program and kind of what's going on with them.
Well, they're having a hard time scoring this year, obviously. I think the biggest thing for them, we talk about roster management. They've had some challenges in roster management. When you look at some of the receivers that left, Barryon Brown, Dane Key, some of their better playmakers left them. I think the other thing that's been a struggle for Kentucky is they just haven't been able to get the quarterback right. They've taken some transfer quarterbacks. Some of them have been okay. Some of them haven't worked out as well as you thought. They haven't had a high school guy develop and kind of become a guy. They've had a hard time finding their answer at the quarterback position, which has affected them offensively. It's affected their ability to be consistent offensively with some of their continuity stuff there.
Who is Cutter Bowley?
Cutter Bowley is another transfer that they have brought in and is trying to sort of find. I think he may be the high school kid. No, he is the high school kid. Redshirt freshman. I get him confused with the transfer out of Lexington Christian Academy. So he's a local guy, 6'5", 220, and he's a guy that they're hoping, can be their answer. They made a decision to go to him earlier in the year and just kind of develop and go from there. He's had moments where he's done some really good things. It's looked good. They've just not been consistent enough. And he's a redshirt freshman with little experience who's learning and trying to figure it out. And they haven't been able to run it as well around him to kind of protect him. It's probably been put a little bit too much on him this season when you look at where they're at and kind of who they are. I don't know what they ended up rushing for in the Texas game, but this is a Kentucky team that has rushed for 900 yards, but they've only thrown for 1,100 yards.
They've only played 6 games, so their stats are a little skewed because they've had their 2 byes.
But you look at their schedule and you look at their points, and they scored 23 in a loss to Ole Miss at home. Since then, 13 at South Carolina, 14 at Georgia, 13 in an overtime loss at home to Texas. So they're having some issues scoring right now and being as effective offensively as they need to be. But here's what you know about this game, Mike. It hasn't changed in forever, right? That they will play, they will be locked in, they will be ready to play, and they will give you all you want and then some because their effort's going to be there in this game. This is a rivalry game for them. They're going to show up. I don't think they're just going to – I know it's a difficult overtime loss, but I don't think this is one of those deals where they're not going to show. I think they'll show. I think they'll play physical. I think they'll be probably looking for a street fight, and you're going to have to play with poise on the road at night and not do the things we talked about earlier in the show what Tennessee has done with all of the mistakes that they have made. You have to – the penalties and
you
those
can't
types of
get caught up in that.
Yeah, you cannot get caught up in it. And it's – at home, it's a little easier to manage because we saw that in the Arkansas game. But on the road, you better be really careful and not get caught up in that because I think that's what they're going to do. But they've just Bowley got sacked 5 times against Texas. He's been knocked around a lot, but he's put up some numbers, but they've just had a hard time scoring.
Coming up this week in the SEC, the noon Eastern time game, Ole Miss at Oklahoma.
That's a big one.
And then Oklahoma comes here. Oklahoma has had a pretty tough little run.
Mm-hmm.
Texas at South Carolina this week, Ole Miss at home before they come to Tennessee. And
this is a big game for Ole Miss and Oklahoma both.
It's huge.
When we had the text question earlier about playoff talk and all that. Ole Miss does not need to drop 2 in a row. They missed an opportunity in Athens, Georgia on Saturday. Oklahoma's trying to get some offense going. They've not scored a bunch of points, and that's been problematic for them a little bit.
Auburn at Arkansas. Big game for Hugh Freeze in Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need to lose a 5th straight game.
He does not. I would say too, for Bobby Petrino's hopes of trying to get this job. This is a big game for him.
He needs to win one.
He needs to win one. He's been close. He's been competitive. They've been more competitive the last 2 games for sure than they were against Notre Dame. But he needs to win one too.
That's the 12:45, 3:30 games, a pair of them. Alabama at South Carolina, Missouri at Vanderbilt.
That one is I'm this Vanderbilt team is they are really they're really solid on defense. They play really good defensive football. A lot of pressure from a lot of different places. They play really sound. They communicate well. They don't seem to get themselves out of position. Missouri kind of stole one. It seems like I didn't see that game, but it feels like they stole one Saturday night at Auburn, or got it late. I should say stole it, but came back and kind of found a way to win that one. That'd be a good ball game there. That Vanderbilt team's they're more than just a quarterback.
4:15 Eastern, Texas at Mississippi State.
Where is Texas? Where are they right now?
5-2.
Yeah, I mean, should win, but State had an opportunity at Florida.
Get a defensive lineman intercepting a pass.
Yeah, and just obviously they missed a couple of open throws too that would have been walk-in overthrows that would have been a walk-in touchdown. But State's got to win one if they're going to get bowl eligible. They got to steal one somewhere along the way too.
Texas A&M at LSU. Hello, Brian Kelly.
Yeah, you got an offense having a hard time right now.
Yeah, just lost to Vanderbilt for the first time in 35 years.
You don't score points,
and you're not always the most lovable figure at times.
Not a ray of sunshine all the time.
Well, you just you've just always wondered about fit there, haven't you?
You have.
I mean, I don't know him. He may be a great guy for all I know, but it just doesn't feel like he's them.
No. I mean, because he has, until he went there, he's never really spent any time in the South. It doesn't have any ties. And they're about fit.
Mm-hmm.
They are very much about fit. You don't have to be from there, but you have to figure it out.
Nick Saban fit there.
Yeah, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to figure it out. I mean, Nick Saban did. Of course, he won.
But he's still coming from Michigan State at the time. You weren't sure, will this work? But, I mean, he just, And
I would say Les Miles fit well.
Yes, because quirky and obviously Coach O and and the other game, of course, Tennessee at Kentucky, 7:45 Eastern. Ball Network on the air at 5 o'clock Eastern. Florida and Georgia are off this weekend before they meet next weekend in Jacksonville.
Is that game in Jacksonville or Tampa?
Is it in Tampa?
I think it's in one. Aren't they doing some renovations to the Jaguar Stadium? One of these years it's in Tampa and then it's in Atlanta.
Well, because Jacksonville's having to find somewhere to play.
Yeah. So I think that game's in Tampa and then it goes to Atlanta next year.
Well, I don't know. It's not.
It's the world's largest outdoor party.
It's not the world's largest outdoor anything, right?
No,
I've been away for a while.
No, you can call it the world's largest outdoor party, but not cocktail party.
Is that right?
Yes. Even though we're selling alcohol at every event, but we can't call it. Anyway, that's a whole different topic.
Like the beer barrel?
Well, you want to have that topic
No,
conversation?
I want to go to break. I'm going to break right now. Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's on the Ball Network.
At the University of Tennessee, the Vols are known for competing at the highest level on the field, the court, and the diamond. And just like the Vols, Food City excels at everything too. They've got in-store butchers carving up certified Angus beef, fresh local produce, a full-service bakery, Fuel Bucks rewards, and one of the best beer and wine selections in town. Food City, the official supermarket of the Vols, and your home for everything Tennessee.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve ball fans since 1983.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
Hey fans, it's Coach Heupel. In football and in life, some folks just show up. That's Tennessee. They don't call us volunteers for nothing. We're about standing together and doing the right thing on and off the field. That's exactly how Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee shows up. They're not just from here, they're for here. Built for Tennessee life. Get a free quote at FBITN.com.
The Big Orange Rewind continues, presented by Calhoun's.
Mike Keith with Brett Hubbs reminding you it's Tennessee football Saturday night at Kroger Field. The Vols and Kentucky. 7:45 Eastern Time kickoff. 5 o'clock we're on the air with Big Orange Countdown. Sunday, no Big Orange Rewind because there's Tennessee basketball on the air. The Vols and Duke in an exhibition at the Food City Center. Airtime 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Tip-off 7 Eastern, 6 Central. The Vols and the Blue Devils.
This coming after a super secret scrimmage with Ohio State that took place here.
It wasn't really super secret. I mean, everybody knew they were having.
Yes. Not a lot of details drift out of those private super secret scrimmages.
Well, they're not supposed to.
That's exactly right. That's why they're super secret.
Well, no, but I mean, it would be super secret if you didn't even know it was happening.
We know that it's happening.
Right.
Yes.
But it's just a scrimmage.
It is just a scrimmage.
And the media is not allowed to cover it, right?
That is correct. That is correct. And Rick Barnes is not interested in any details of it getting out. Not any real details of it getting out. So, but it's good. I mean, it's, again, whether it's a public exhibition game or a scrimmage, this is good for the game.
Sure.
This is good for the development of the product, development of your team, development of the game, for sure.
I had a chance to visit with Jason Swain this afternoon, and we were doing a bit for our TV show, which airs Monday nights at 7 o'clock on WVLT in Knoxville and around the state on the Tennessee Valley Sports and Entertainment Network. And I was asking him, I said, how do you turn the page after losing to Alabama? He is the right guy to ask because he's from Huntsville, Alabama. To anyone you and I have ever known from the state of Alabama, the Tennessee-Alabama game, if you're on the Tennessee side, means a tremendous amount, even more. And so I was asking about turning the page. He said, well, you have to get over it and get on with it. And then I looked at him and I said, do you really get over it? And he looked at me and goes, no. But I thought his answer was really important. He goes, no, you have to deal with it for 24 to 36 hours. But the good part is you have to go to class on Monday. You have to go to practice. The routine gets you working back out of it. But it's emotional. I mean, and to see how the Alabama fans were about it too. And the Alabama team coming back onto the field after the game to celebrate the win. And I mean, Tennessee certainly has their attention, having won 2 of the last 4.
Yeah, because if you're an Alabama fan, you're not sitting there going, well, here's little old Tennessee coming to
right.
town. We know we got our hands full and going to have our hands full. I think the other thing, too, that's probably helped that a little bit, besides close games, the former coach who everybody listens to down there and hangs on every word he said has come out and said that's the biggest rival Alabama has is Tennessee. It's not the Iron Bowl. It's the Tennessee game. The game that our players got revved up for the most was the Tennessee game. That gets the attention of that fan base down there who he's certainly had their attention for a long period of time as well. But it's about what Tennessee's doing on the field first and foremost, and Tennessee has pushed them. Tennessee's pushed them, and Tennessee was in a position to really push them on Saturday night. They just let it get away because of mistakes, because of a couple of mistakes. But to your point with Jason, I think that is the challenge. I think that's a real challenge with young players. Just like I think it's a challenge for young players to understand how 3 or 4 plays can truly mean the difference. Because in high school, you might have a game like that, but you can play a season of games like that where 3 or 4 plays were the true difference maker in winning or losing the game.
Right.
So with young players, how do you teach them to turn the page and move on as well? That the grind is continuing, because nobody feels sorry for you. I can promise you nobody in Lexington has any sympathy for you for what you're going through because of what they're going through as well. So who can circle the wagons, put it past them, and get themselves ready to play this week? That's the challenge of the leadership of this program and this team.
Because you've got to.
You don't have a choice. Nobody's feeling sorry for you. It's on to the next one.
Well, and it sure isn't going to be Kentucky.
No, it's on to the next one.
And if you really want your world wrecked, lose to Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's the challenge for a team that wants to. Because now the goal is, okay, let's finish 10-2 and see what happens.
Right.
Roll the dice and just see if maybe it goes our way.
Well, and the thing that you have to do as you turn the page, if you're a guy on this team, you're the coaches here, there has to be tangible teaching points taken from Saturday. Because again, or from Saturday. It's not like you get back on the plane and home and go, man, we're miles away. We're so far away. We can't compete at this position. No. It's the penalties. It's the turnover. It's the missed assignment here. It's this. The details count, and this team has to learn to be more attentive to the details that you need to do to win games of that magnitude.
And to win games the rest of the way, because unfortunately, some of the mistakes have been present in the first 7 games consistently. And for Tennessee, if you're going to improve, if you're going to take that next step and make the run you'd like to make for the last 5 games to give yourself that chance, you've got to get better.
Well,
you got to tackle, you got to catch the ball, you got to eliminate penalties. There are things like that have to happen.
Well, I think we talked about this maybe on the first edition of this show. This team, judgment if you want to call it that, but viewing of this team is about how much do they improve as the season goes along.
Right.
Because it's a young football team to start the year. A lot of new pieces in place you didn't know answers to. We talked about how much better you're going to be October 1st than you were September 1st. How much better are you going to be November 1st? Tennessee's got to take steps, and I think that's the challenge this week.
A break, and then back with more. Your thoughts at 865-657-1278. That's the text line for Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Today's Big Orange Rewind, sponsored by
First Horizon Bank, Big Bank Solutions, Small Bank Spirit, the official bank of the Vols. Swaggerty's Farm Sausage, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. By the Tennessee Fund. Join the My All campaign today at IWillGiveMyAll.com. Rackley Roofing, the official roofer of the Vols. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
Fall fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
Tennessee fans, the Vol Shop has everything you need to support the Big Orange with a 15,000 square foot store in the Student Union and other locations on Cumberland Avenue, in the University Commons, and inside Neyland Stadium. The Vol Shop is stocked full of official gear and exclusive apparel. The Vol Shop is your go-to retailer for Tennessee merchandise. If you can't make it to campus, shop online at utvolshop.com and be sure to follow them on social media. The Vol Shop, the official campus store of the University of Tennessee.
From the practice field to the fourth quarter, our attitude is always the same. Confidence and commitment can turn your dreams into reality. Where there's a dream, there's a way. And that's First Horizon's philosophy. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Over 160 years of banking based right here in the Volunteer State. It's no wonder First Horizon is the official bank of Tennessee Athletics.
The Vol Network's Big Orange Rewind continues. Presented by Calhoun's.
Tennessee gearing up for Kentucky after losing to Alabama 37-20. Vols and the Wildcats from Kroger Field in Lexington. Saturday night, 7:45 Eastern Time kickoff. Vol Network airtime is 5 o'clock Eastern. Meteorologist Brent Hubbs says the weather does not appear to be as bad as he at first thought for Saturday night.
Trending up at this point in time. Low of around 50 as of tonight. Now we'll see what that looks like as the week progresses. But to start the week looks a little better than it did the end of last week.
A lot of Tennessee fans normally end up making that trip.
They do. It's become a night game in large part because of Keeneland and some things going on up there with other events. But, yeah, it's an easy trip. It's not far. It's a good drive. It's a good experience for a lot of people. And I would expect that there will be orange in the stands on Saturday night.
Wildcats will enter the game 2-4, 0-4 in the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee 5-2 overall, 2-2 in the SEC. Tennessee basketball comes up Sunday night. Exhibition game against Duke at the Food City Center. Rick Barnes' team looking forward to getting the season started. Lady Vols will have their first exhibition 3 nights later. I had a chance to attend one of their practices last week.
They can run.
Very impressed.
I mean, they are athletic. They're a lot more athletic than they were a year ago.
They're very athletic, and they have a lot of people that can shoot the three. A lot of people allowed to shoot the three.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun. They do a lot of stuff, too, on the practice floor, a lot of one-on-one finish drills at the rim. It is very much a spread attack, attack with the dribble to the rim, and then obviously shoot the three. It's fun offense to watch.
Lady Vol volleyball on Sunday got a sweep of Auburn, a 3-0 sweep. So the 16th-ranked Lady Vol volleyballers continuing to play well. They're on the way to Alabama on Friday to continue their conference season. Lots of things going on. Also, next weekend in Nashville on Sunday at First Horizon Park, the Vol baseball team has a inter-squad scrimmage. Go to NashvilleSounds.com to check on tickets for that.
A lot of new faces on that baseball team, a lot of different parts that you can put in a lot of different places. It's going to be interesting to see how they all shuffle out, who's where. The two-way player in college baseball has become back in vogue because you got roster limitations. So having someone who can play in the field and pitch has become a thing again.
Like Blaine Brown?
Yeah, it's become a thing again. It went away for the longest time because it was all specialty, but it's starting to come back into play. Little Todd Helton, Scott Schreffel.
How about Ohtani?
Yeah. Okay.
that may be the best example.
Yeah, he might count.
10 strikeouts and 3 home runs.
Yeah, that might count.
Wow. I mean, but it is. I mean, you're figuring, why can't guys do both?
That's right. That's exactly right. And you're going to see more and more of it in the college game.
I would agree. The general manager of the Vol Network is Brandon Parks, executive director Glenn Thaxton, director of business development Josh Payrow, special advisor Steve Early, account executives Chuck Arnold, Kevin Ashmos, Ben Bates, Nick Bell, Savannah Chalfant, Brandon Lane, Jessica Leifheit, Spencer Rudder, Chris Wagner. Technical Director, Tim Berry. Network Engineer, Jay Leifert. Network Producer, Eli Davis. Associate Director of VFL Films, Ashley Farrell and Travis Dean. And Director of Radio Projects, Larry Stone. For Brunt Hubs, I'm Mike Keith. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to talking with you through the course of the week and certainly Saturday night from Kroger Field, Tennessee and Kentucky.
Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
Rewind one more time to this weekend's action. Catch the podcast at utsports.com. Big Orange Rewind. We are the Vol Network.